doorbell at Jimmy's house. Now, when you come to my house, my doorbell sounds like this.
Hey, welcome to the People's Weekly. I am Tim Best Buzz, and I'm here with Canadian Glenn. What's up, Glenn?
Buenos dias.
Yeah.
Or, I guess I should... Well, not yet.
No.
Not yet. It's definitely still day. Like, don't forget, it was just... 2 days ago was the longest day of the year in the Northern Hemisphere, and the sun was up here for, I do believe, something like 18 hours and 35 minutes.
Wow.
Now they start getting shorter again already. That's it.
Yeah. Just a real quick reminder. It's hot outside in a lot of places, and if you're able to get some cold bottles of water, get them really ice cold, and take them out and give them to people who don't have houses who need them. That would be an awesome thing to do. I stole that idea from the Union.
Yes,
and
you did.
If you want to get some info about the Union, go to @YouAreTheUnion1 on Twitter. You know what? The Union website's getting going, but I'm going to probably add something from the Union on the People's Radio too. So we can have more missions everywhere for people to do. But yeah, the Union's there for the people. It's growing. We're getting a lot of people following it. A lot of people are sending back information about missions they're working on or completing. So that's good news. Changing the world one mission at a time. Sorry, go ahead, Glenn.
No, absolutely. That is moving along the way we wanted it to move along, correct?
Yes, organically.
Right on. Unlike what we were talking about before we did the show, about the upsurge in media starting to use that old word again that starts with an A and ends with mus. There seems to be a lot more incidents, occurrences, and claims, all having that A word in them somewhere. And, as I said to Tim, this isn't our first barbecue. We've seen this movie before. We're just curious. We don't look at it the same way as we did, say, in 2012. Then everything was really, it felt revolutionary and big and huge. Every time a dump happened, it was like, holy fuck, this has never happened before.
Yeah.
So, we don't have that anymore. But I think guys like you and me, it's more like, yeah, okay, yeah, good data, right on. Okay, but that's it, Good job, we appreciate it. Hope you guys stay out of jail, but just, carry on. Don't turn into a cult or a cash-in or, because we've seen those movies and they suck.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, people are going to do what they're going to do. And that's great. But it doesn't matter what group you're affiliated with. The Union doesn't really care. The Union is just called the Union because that's what people decided to call it. It's really about just completing simple missions that help your community. So, if you want to be in any group, that's fine. You don't have to say, I am the Union or you are the Union or any of that. That's promotional stuff we put out there. The point is we want the communities to get healed. We want people to get taken care of. And we want the work to get done. We want to fight fascism. We want to get a better life for the future of our species. the next generations. So that's what the union is. It doesn't matter what title someone's under. You know, there's people from all kinds of groups that are following the union and just doing missions. Some of them already are doing those missions and inspired the union to make these missions. So, you know, there's people from 10 or 15 groups I could think of that are in the union. Anonymous is one of them. And that's great. That's great. Missions are safer than ops because you know what you're getting into and you're not taking on more than you're willing to take on. So
Yeah.
do everything you want to do. Be in any group you want to be. Just let's progress, move forward in this struggle we're fighting to gain freedom and equality for everybody. That's the thing. Titles don't matter. Egos don't matter. None of that shit matters.
But I think that's one of the things that was part of the downfall of the big era of Anonymous, is that it became, you had the bigger the op, the better. The more publicity you could get, the better. That's what it became. But like so many missions with the union, depending where you live, they could be in your neighborhood. They could be down your street. They could be on the other side of the town, wherever you live. The thing about that last great wave was that it turned into everything has to be bigger. It turned into Super Bowl type shit. And that just doesn't work in the long run, because that's not where the people are. The people are in your neighborhood. The people are in your town. And I think that's one of the big differences about what the union is doing. These are no universal big ideas. This is just making shit better. However you're comfortable doing it, and you'd be surprised how close it is to you to do it.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully people will check into that. Union Radio is up too, and it's got a ton of speeches on there from revolutionaries of the past and a few activists in the present. And those will be changing. More will be going up. I think there's only 5 or 6 hours worth allowed, maybe. I don't know. But whatever it is, it'll bump one, and we're going to try to archive them somewhere. But I'm going to add all that stuff to the website on People's Radio under a union banner somewhere. And the union website is coming along, I suppose. I haven't been able to check into it because a lot of shit's been going on, so I need to get on that too. So yeah, we'll update you when we hear more stuff. But yeah, let's jump into today's show. What are the what's your sponsor today, Glenn?
I have a new sponsor on the show today. I'd like everyone to welcome the new sponsor, which is Gorilla Glue 4 crossed with orange cookies.
Nice. I'm smoking wax. It's a combination of something called Pink Mimosa and what is the other one? I don't remember.
Must be good then.
Fire OG. That's what it is. So that's what I'm doing. That's my sponsor. So yeah, you want to start out reading something?
Well, I just want everybody to make sure everybody's aware that just as in the United States, after George Floyd, it seems the cops have only increased the rate of killing innocent, unarmed people. Canada is not immune to this. Canada has had a little spike of RCMP killing Indigenous people, had a little spike of what could be described as panic by police in Canada, And more dirt continues to come out. So, I mean, we're right there with you. I think it was last week I said that, I live in a city of right around 1 million. And we had the biggest demonstration ever at our legislature buildings of 15,000. And that was for Black Lives Matter. So it's an issue here, just like it is in Calgary, which is a little south of me. You better be muted. Holy fuck. I am really shocked that the Calgary Herald, which is to be friendly, a center-right corporate paper. It is a paper in a Canadian city owned by a corporation that is controlled by an American hedge fund. Just for anybody who didn't know that. However, they printed this on the weekend in their opinion column. This is a piece written by a Calgary police member. And he says his name at the end of it. I'm amazed that this newspaper printed this, number one. And it was surprising. But I don't know what the real takeaway from it is, whether there's hope or I don't know. But it shocked me to read it. Not only written by a cop, but in this newspaper in this part of the world. So maybe things actually are moving this time.
I mean, you guys you move on issues sometimes, especially when people's lives are on the line. Didn't you do some kind of a wider gun ban more recently in the last few years?
Yeah, there was a order in council, which means nothing was passed in Parliament, but the government doesn't have to. It's well within their powers to do what they did. And they banned, I'm not even sure how many. I know it was over 1,500 models of semi-automatic weapons.
Yeah, we promote them, and the president screams about your Second Amendment rights. Gun sales here are skyrocketing.
Well, you see, that's the thing, though. There is no right to have a firearm in Canada. It's a privilege, period. Just like driving a car. You have no right to drive. It's a privilege, and you have to earn it, and you have to follow rules. And we treat guns the same way. And these guns are now outlawed in Canada. So, over 80% of Canadians have no problem with this. But there is a very loud, very small minority who sound like the Second Amendment crowd in the U.S. They sound like the NRA up here, but they're not getting too far. Nobody cares.
Yeah. Well, on with the...
But, yeah, so this is the letter that this cop wrote. And remember, this is in the number one paper in a very white city in a oil jurisdiction, okay? Think Houston. One's view of policing changes when looking at it from the inside outwards. It's meant to be a force for all that is right and good, a place where teamwork and support should be at its highest. Instead, it has become muddy and difficult to navigate. Political ideologies, media, societal and systemic issues, etc., have influenced police services throughout North America, some for good, some for ill. A police officer is by definition an extension of the law of, in Canada, the criminal code. The way we envision policing has become too complex for both the individuals on the top and the bottom of the organization, behind a desk and on the front line. We need to evolve and change our methodology if we are to survive in today's geopolitical climate. Our first and foremost concern needs to be our citizens' wants and needs. our officers must ask themselves, what would you want as a citizen of your city, as a person? We must ask essential questions as to whether what we are doing is lawful, just, right, and above all, ethical. Citizens need to tell us what they need so we can begin to adapt. Every district, every precinct, every jurisdiction will receive different answers, and they need to respond accordingly. Law enforcement should work in the shadows. Society has a complicated view of us, viewing us through a lens of fear or even hatred, a perception we have to change. We should no longer involve ourselves in matters that do not concern us. There are many, many branches of social services that can de-escalate situations and work with civilians. Officers should no longer respond to situations that do not involve enforcing the criminal code. In many European cities, the police are solely the extension of a book. Officer digression is non-existent. Instead, when the police are called, they are there to make an arrest and nothing else. We need to expand the role of mental health services so officers are no longer in charge of mental wellness checks. It is often said that children are scared of our vehicles, of our officers. It is paramount that this perception is changed. A child of any race, gender, or creed should be able to approach an officer without being afraid. We have a negative image showing up in our jet black SUVs and dark uniforms, an image likened to a military outfit. The police are not meant to make citizens sweat, but to make them feel safe. A plethora of the existing city, provincial, and federal laws need to be abolished. Our citizens are currently living in a police state. We ask ourselves why communities do not seem as closely knit as they used to. It is because we are trying to have complete control over our citizens. It is imperative that we take a step back and allow our citizens to develop the skills to work with one another, setting petty differences without picking up the phone. If a situation escalates or becomes dangerous, that is the point where we respond. Neighborly disputes, loitering, littering, trivial issues only escalate once the police are called. Social workers with the proper training and mindset should be responding to these types of calls. Law enforcement should be highly trained masters of their craft. Some walk the beats, some are investigators, some are leaders. What matters is that we support one another regardless of rank or role. A clear division between roles is key, allowing officers to become experts in their specific field of policing. This way, we are not training jacks of all trades, masters of none, but professionals, less likely to make mistakes and wrong decisions that have adverse effects on the public at large. A podiatrist would never be called in to perform open-heart surgery, so it stands to reason that a detective should not be transferred to a patrol team without reason. Why should both our citizens and officers suffer so one person can move their career forward? Every officer needs to be adept in the role they serve in order to properly serve the public. The police need to have less control in our society. Citizen support is like sand. The tighter you grip, the less you have. We need to relax and let our citizens take charge. We work for them, not the other way around. Defunding the police means having more money for the most important facet of our society, education. It is imperative we give our citizens the resources to have influence in the city, the province, and the country they live in, regardless of their socioeconomic background. Education should be available to all, as an educated society is a peaceful society. Citizen feedback is key in moving forward. We need to use technology to our advantage, allowing citizens to send feedback directly to the police service and ask questions. The annual policing surveys done across the continent need to be easy to access and conducted online so that a wider array of people have access to them. Going forward, the police need to listen more than they speak. Policing needs to be demilitarized. The military is a force that either attacks or defends an enemy group. The citizens we serve are not our enemies, and we need to stop looking at them as that. We need to strive to perfect less brutal tactics. As officers, we need to hold each other accountable for our actions. The death of George Floyd could have easily been prevented if the surrounding officers had stopped what was going on immediately. When an arrest has been made and someone is in cuffs, the fight is over. That prisoner is now under your care, and it is your duty to take care of them. Our job is to take criminal suspects from the area of arrest to jail. Deadly force should only ever be used in a situation when it is absolutely unavoidable, when the arresting officers or surrounding persons' lives are in imminent and apparent peril. Watch one another, support one another, and keep one another from overstepping our role as civil servants. No more egos. No more tough guy attitude. No more leather jackets and revolvers. No more corrupt moral practices. No more unnecessary violence. No more sexism. No more racism. No more homophobia. We cannot be soldiers or warriors, but guardians, standing between society and harm. Fellow officers, this may seem frightening to some of you. You may worry about job security or feel as if you are being unduly judged. Let me assure you, the police will always be needed. Human nature will not change at the drop of a hat. However, we need to adapt and change the way we see ourselves and the way we see the public so that they can begin to trust us again. It is wholly apparent that citizens are willing to help us change, so let them. The old days of policing are behind us. It is time to let them go. Every decision we make, every step we take, we must keep the words, "do no harm," in our thoughts. The time has come for power to be given to the people. This was written by Constable Pierre Poitras, who's been a member of the Calgary Police Service for 14 years.
What do you think the odds are? I mean, how plausible is it that even a large portion of that could get carried out in Canada, within the recent next 5 to 10 year future?
Well, I think Canada, like everywhere, it's the speed. It's how rapid this is having an effect, which is going to be the biggest factor. I think if you want to look at 5 years, if nothing happens in the next 6 months, then probably nothing will happen in those 5 years. I think there's a real urgency this time. And like I said, this conservative newspaper in a conservative city published this in the weekend in their opinion column. I'm shocked.
Well, that's a safe position if you think about it.
This is momentum.
But here's the thing. People like me are saying abolish the police. Other people are saying defund the police. And although he does say the words defund the police in that, he's still talking about reforming the police. You can still keep your jobs. There'll still be jobs for you. And you know what I mean? He's taking the lesser. He's taking the thing that's the best out of the three, quote unquote, horrible for him and his people's options. I think, right?
Oh no, I understand what you're saying, but I think you're judging his content from your perspective. And
True.
the thing that made this interesting to me is I actually tried to move to his perspective, to imagine what it's like to be a cop. And obviously, he's not a fucking lunatic. He's not a murderer. You know? So I'll give him that much. And I think about what it's like to be him. How does he say all this and get away with it in the cops? I mean, don't get me wrong. Calgary Police is not some Dudley Do-Right outfit. I've had a couple experiences with Calgary cops. They can be fucking assholes, like all cops, everywhere. Vancouver, Edmonton, everywhere I've been. Cops are cops, right? So, I mean...
Well, my thing was I was trying to see the difference between them and cops here in the U.S. What, because I don't think that would be feasible here. They would fight it tooth and nail with these unions, and they love their militarized shit.
Okay, but I mean, not even to that point. Let's say a letter like this was published by a member of the Culver City PD or the LA County Sheriff, and they put their name on it. What do you think would happen to those guys on the job?
Yeah, they probably
would they end up dead in a week?
I mean, a woman, they might lose their job. A woman who was a police officer, she stopped another pig from choking someone out, and they fired her.
Yeah.
Because he was her superior or whatever. That's ridiculous, man. So, yeah, I mean, we've heard time and time again people who expose other cops or blow the whistle, they get death threats, they get their whole lives get destroyed. You'd be just as good going up against a mafia boss or something as a police department. But yeah, I was just trying to see how Canadian cops were, if they're as lethal as ours here, and like there's literal gangs in the sheriff's department and in the police department too, in the jails, the correctional officers, like they have literal gangs. They got tattoos for these gangs, all kinds of shit, man.
Well, it's nowhere near what it is in the U.S. because, again, we simply don't have the numbers. I mean, Metropolitan Toronto is a one-of-a-kind in Canada, and there's probably 15 of them, at least, in the United States. So, I mean, it's a different dynamic. We just don't have that many people to bother other people, you know what I mean? So it's a little different thing, but it is different the way it's controlled through law as well, because we have different governments. And, you talk about metro police forces being military operations. It's the mayors, it's the councils of these cities that let them get away with this shit. Like, you're fired because you stopped your superior from murdering someone.
Yeah.
It's the mayors and the city councils that let this happen. It doesn't have to be this way. Fuck what the union says. What are they going to do? All quit? And give up their fucking jobs? No. They're not. I mean, it's like New York City. When the police unions can sway the mayor's election, you have a problem. Big problem.
Yeah, I was hearing in Oakland, some of the unions separated off and they won't support the police unions anymore, and that was some pretty big news.
Oh, well, that's interesting. That is interesting. Will they get accredited? Or are they just going to be like these union holdouts? They're not going to get any formal recognition or anything?
I don't know. I don't know all the details. We'll have to look into it for the next time we're on here. Or tweet about it.
I mean, I know this opinion piece isn't the Gettysburg Address. It doesn't talk about some big issues enough But like I said, I've never seen this amount of progress in that conservative city out of that conservative paper ever. And all this basically took was a month to make it happen. That's what makes this seem different this time.
Yeah, I mean, here we got two parties, and both parties try to blame each other for protests, but neither party's really involved.
Yeah.
Like, there might be Democrats out there, but they're not saying Democrat things, you know? Or maybe they are. Some of them are saying vote, 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 but yeah, fuck that. The thing is, these are just people that probably are like me, who's like, we basically have two Republican parties now. Fuck both of them. We're here for the people.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't see it like the media tries to portray it. It's yeah. It's a lot of bullshit in the media.
Well, of course, that's their job. I mean, corporate media is, you don't need any more descriptive words than those two. Corporate media. So, you know,
Yeah.
there you go. But I mean, there has been a real increase in streaming again, which also kind of reminds people of a time 7, 8, 9 years ago. So, you know, it's good to see that come back, maybe just from a nostalgic point of view on my behalf. But, you know, everybody's bandwidth is so much bigger than it was. There's a lot better quality stuff out there.
Yeah.
And there's just a proliferation of it as well. It's everywhere, man. Nothing, you know, I think we are getting close to the time when, unless you're inside a building with all the windows covered, if you're anywhere outside, there's a chance it will be filmed in some way.
That's true.
It's getting that way. Now, whether it's identifying or not is another issue, but, you know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I said this shit earlier on Twitter. These motherfuckers that shaming people and don't loot, don't burn, don't do this. They ratted out Brooks. What's his name? Rayshard Brooks. His girlfriend got arrested for allegedly lighting a Wendy's on fire where he got murdered. The Wendy's that called the police on him. Because these people were running around screaming, outside agitator, let's identify her. You know? These people suck. And I said in that same tweet, I said, but nobody's bitching about, you know, all the terrible shit with these people robbing. I mean, they say, oh my God, they're tearing down businesses. It's ruining people's lives. Why aren't they saying Steve Mnuchin, you know, foreclosed on all these people's homes? A ton of them are still are homeless today because of him, and they have nothing left. And he's in the White House, rich as hell. I think we said this a week or two ago. Like, these looters don't make shit compared to the real looters.
Yeah.
Poor people are pissed off. They protesting. They get attacked by the cops. They gonna fuck some shit up, or take some shit, or burn some shit, or whatever. Whatever their motives, who cares? What are these billionaires' motives for exploiting people and robbing people and killing people overseas? I mean, they bomb whole villages and towns and countries till there's just rubble left. And they're like, oh, look at these horrible looters. Look what you did to the fucking Middle East. They need to shut the fuck up with that, man. The shaming of people. Not one of these looters or arsonists or whatever they want to call them have done a percentage of what the United States has destroyed and burned and looted around the world. So they can fuck off with that.
Well, I see this is the difference, though, because for so long, Empire has been doing it everywhere else. And now it's finally coming home, you know? This is how empires end, man.
The sooner the better.
And, you know, you guys have your own orange diaper Nero, so Carry on.
Yeah, it's just so wrong. Like, people are filming everything. People aren't wearing masks. That's another issue. Because you can't blame somebody live streaming where you're at when you got police drones and helicopters and cops with cameras on there. You know what I mean? Every store has a camera around you. You got real live news crews. Everyone there have a camera. Think about that. If you're worried about something you're doing, mask up or wait until everything shuts down. Go to another area. Draw the police over there. Be smart. Stay a step ahead of them. You know, there's ways to get away from the cameras. And for those of you filming, everything don't need to be filmed. You know, there was days I was out in the first I guess the second, third, or fourth day when I didn't film anything. I might have got a little shot or two of some kind of protest happening here or there, but everything else could have incriminated people. That's dumb. Why even bother to film it? Don't be a snitch. If the police are doing something, film them. If you're at a protest and there's a lot of stuff going on with marching and, you know, paintings and shockings and whatever, then yeah, film everything because everyone's filming everywhere. But, you know, some cats go around the corner to do something, don't follow them with a camera. Let them go. If the cops go around to do something, follow them with a camera. Never let that go. You have to be here for the people or fuck you. Today's to be down for the people or fuck you day.
Down for the people or the people say fuck you.
There you go.
Wow. See? Good sponsors today.
Yeah.
They gave that to us. I don't know, man. You know, just as, like I said, that the only thing I really can say for sure out of this entire event in this conservative city to the south of me, it's just I ain't seen no shit like this before here. Ever. Nothing even close to that.
Well, so
we'll see if it's a play. You know, we'll see if it's a pacification technique, or we'll see if it's a legitimate position. You know?
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
We protesting police violence, and these pigs keep killing people and attacking the protesters. This is like a never-ending cycle.
Yeah.
Like they're just proving our point. It's insane. And these pigs are so persecuted they have to make up shit. They said that they got milkshakes from what was it, Shake Shack? I don't think they have those here. If they do, I've never seen one. But
yeah, it's a New York thing.
Yeah, they got milkshakes from a Shake Shack, and they said they poisoned them. Today, a cop got a Starbucks and said it had a tampon in it. So yeah, they found out the Shake Shack was not real. There was nothing wrong with them. There was one report that said the machine had cleaners still in it or something, but it wasn't dangerous.
No, it's bullshit. It's complete bullshit. They fucking ordered online. Nobody even knew they were cops before they got there. So how would they fuck their shit up? It's just bullshit.
Maybe they said, I'm the one in the cop outfit that's going to come in.
Fuck. Well, I don't know if it was in Greenwich Village. I mean, it could mean a few other things there.
Huh. So, yeah,
no, it's just complete bullshit, man. Complete bullshit. And this is it. You know, this shows you how far the balance has shifted. When cops can make up fucking dumb stories and media just fucking run with it immediately. Don't question, no details, just write down and print. That's it. That's ridiculous. Meanwhile, there's some eyewitnesses to cops killing somebody, and they'll interview them for 10 minutes, and they won't publish a goddamn thing they said.
Yeah.
They just want the data.
Yeah, I don't
Fuck.
know. I mean, I guess someone was saying there was some guy running for sheriff up in Northern California somewhere that was saying similar things, but I don't think he got elected. This was a couple years ago. And I was even asking back then, he could say all that good shit, but how is he gonna have the police unions and all the deputies under him go with it?
Yep.
See, we've had something going on since 2012, or really kicked up in 2014, I think, or 2014 was when they, released the report. Our military and police have been infiltrated by white supremacists all these years.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys have that same issue. So these people,
Oh yeah.
they're super sick, We just can't have them anymore. Like today, they're going with the Los Angeles Unified School District, trying to get the police out of the schools, get them to defund the school police.
Yep.
I don't know if it's 7 or 9 or 8 billion or something they spend on school police to have armed cops in school. What good is it?
It's propaganda, man. It's putting the power of the state in your face when you're a teenager, when you're starting to think truly independently.
I mean, they call it the school to prison pipeline, so I guess prisons need guards. That gets you ready for it.
He's the recruiting officer.
Well, that's another thing they need to get the fuck out of schools is military recruiting.
Oh yeah.
They need to get that the hell. They shouldn't even be allowed on the high schools. All those ROTCs, the cop programs, all that bullshit, explorers, whatever they call it. No, all that shit needs to be eliminated. You're teaching children to be fascist soldiers before they're even out of high school.
Well, them's the best kind, man. Those are the ones they want the most. They're loyal. Because they're completely Exactly. They're completely programmed. Their new issue.
Yeah, I'm wondering, this is a thing I'm wondering, when they do start, they'll probably only defund the police. They probably won't abolish them. But a lot of cops will lose their jobs. I'm wondering how the ratio of terror attacks in each area is going to go up by disgruntled cops shooting shit up, attacking people. Because these people aren't stable already. They got all the guns in the world. And
they know the tactics of the police.
They're just going to blame everyone they see. Rightfully so. They need to blame themselves, but everyone hates them. But the thing is, that you know how they are. They're violent by nature. I'm just wondering if that's going to be like a little uptick in that. I don't mean massive, just crazy cops going killing. I mean, but quite a few of them. And you're going to start to see their ex-cops. White supremacists, that's cops probably.
Well, I mean, being outside the U.S., I have to be honest, I'm kind of surprised that, there really hasn't been something extremely violent that's happened so far in this entire little month we've had here.
There's been quite a few of them.
No, I mean big. Like police getting called to an ambush.
Oh, I see.
I'm really surprised it hasn't. I'm it sounds sick to talk about it, and what the fuck is with him? But I think I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. And I say that not as an American.
Yeah, I thought you meant like a big white supremacist attack, because they've been attacking, but they haven't done anything where they've just mass murdered a bunch of people. But I don't think it was for lack of trying. I think things just didn't work out for a few of them. Like one guy tried to run a semi-truck. He's a self-proclaimed leader of a KKK chapter. And he had a big Trump sticker on the back of the truck. Go figure. And he tried to run it through people, but people were injured, I think. A lot of people were injured, but nobody died from it. So that was good news. Other people got shot up. There's been a lot of crazy stuff. I mean, because like that autonomous zone they have,
Yeah.
all the right wingers are like, see, they're killing each other in there and this and that, and that's what life is like. How are you going to tell me, dude, they don't set up an autonomous zone and start shooting each other inside there? That's not what activists do. What happens is outsiders come in and attack and try to attack the people in the autonomous zone. Usually fascist and police, or, fascist and police, or police fascist, or whatever. And they attack. Like, there might be a fight between some people, or arguments sometimes, because people might not be seeing eye to eye, but nobody's shooting anybody up. That's counterproductive to what's happening. I guarantee you the person that was shooting in these things is an outsider every time. Like, I don't mean an outsider I mean like a Nazi or some, fascist cop supporter, statue supporter, Confederate flag loving motherfucker, Trump supporter, whatever. That's what I think it's been. As far as every time I've seen an instance where they catch a person, it's one of these people. The guy who killed 2 cops was a military. He was in the military, and like we said last week, he was a white supremacist. So,
well, this is the problem when you fucking throw your seeds to the wind. This is what happens, You in the military, you make too many cold-hearted killers, and they got to come home sometime. They can't just turn it off, all of them. Yeah. So, this is what happens. But I mean, it's just ridiculous that how far some of these stories go, like right off the hop. And it's like, dude, you got like no build at all on this level of bullshit. And this is what you're opening with? So like, you people are either really scared of what could possibly happen there, or you're just a fucking lunatic. One or the other, or both. If you're a civic politician, could be both.
They're gonna know how we feel, though. The fascists are. If they defund or abolish the police, their protests are gonna be dangerous for them, because they're outnumbered. They have thousands of people surrounding 20 or 30 of them. And I bet you if there weren't police, the 20 or 30 of them would be a lot smaller number.
Oh, yeah, they'd all be under the fucking porch, man.
Because they're not out here now in these numbers. 1 or 2 here and there, little small groups. And out in their areas where no one else is, where they're not really being counter-protested by thousands, where they're still able to outnumber people, then they'll do stuff out there. That's how they do it.
Yep.
But they're not in L.A. in any force. They get wiped out, dude.
Yep.
They come with weapons. The thing is, the cops protect them. If the cops are running thin, cops have been calling out, these people need to realize, stay out in the streets. LAPD, Michael Moore hasn't approved actual payment for overtime, so they're talking about comp time, and these cops are calling in sick and are not doing overtime. We need to be out there. Make them tired, make them struggle, make them have mental issues. Who cares? We need to run this shit ragged. We need to abolish these police. And I'm talking about LAPD especially, because I'm here and I need to get rid of these motherfuckers. They're psychopaths.
If you look at any sort of state administration, any type of agency or department or anything, no matter how fucking ridiculous it is, if there is the political will to keep it going, there will always be money for it. And the only way it ever ends and either disappears or completely changes is when it's run into the ground, when it breaks. That's the only time they ever consider doing anything different. It has to completely break. So this labor thing could be a big part of that.
Yeah. I mean, I see police every day getting called out on some bullshit, looking for drugs, legalize fucking drugs. Then, when you see somebody on drugs and needs help, you get them help. You don't send a cop and lock them in a cage and let them back out on the streets and lock them in a cage. You get them some help. You give them a contact with somebody that they can get in contact to when they need them. And when they decide it's their time to do what they need to do. You know? That's how you do it.
Well, that's another part of that cop's piece in the newspaper, man. You know? He knows that. He sees that. You know? It's like, why the fuck are we doing this?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard some police supporters or actual police people saying that kind of thing here too. Like, we didn't want to sign up to be mental health experts. We didn't want to sign up to do this. We didn't want, but they were doing it like, poor woe is me. You know what I mean? We do everything. Yeah. We're so great, and you don't want us anymore. Boo-hoo. Snowflakes.
Yeah, that's a little different than what, maybe that's the difference between the U.S. and Canada that everybody perceives about how Canadians are. This guy ain't.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
This guy isn't saying that, oh, you dumped all this on us and we've had to do it. Now you're going to take it all away. No, he's the opposite. He's like, we've been trying to do this for too long already. We're no fucking good at it. And that's the thing that I've never heard anybody with a police department say in Canada, that they're no fucking good at most of their job right now. That's new, and he's like he says, a lot of the laws, provincially, federally, even municipal bylaws, they all need to be canceled. They're bullshit. It's just ways for us to fuck with you. They need to go.
Revenue creation at your expense.
Yeah. And a way to criminalize, fuck that.
Here, when they have people locked up, it's like basically like labor, free labor. Not to mention they have like contracts with all kinds of other companies, so they profit from people being locked up. Is it the same like that in Canada?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
All federal prisons in Canada are run by the federal government, union employees, union guards, all that kind of shit. There's no private federal prisons. There are no private provincial prisons, but there are some private provincial halfway houses. That's as far as they've gotten.
Man, that's crazy. That's good though. It's better. Because when you have a incentive to lock people up and somebody's profiting off it, like here, you're going to find any reason to lock more people up.
Yep, and keep them there.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that does need to all be changed. It's fucking stupid, man. I don't understand how these people do this. Like, you're involved in law enforcement. You're a piece of shit because you see how these people get treated. You just, fuck you. That's why everyone hates you. That's why everyone wants to put shit in your food. I hope for one time it happens and nobody gets caught.
And you'll never know.
Yeah, that's the best. 10 years later, somebody talks about putting the dog shit on the pizza and all that.
Oh, man. Yeah, well, like you said, though, I mean, when people feel they are at a critical disadvantage and they're being forced to live the life they're living, when they get an opportunity to lash out like that, they're going to take it. You better believe it.
Yeah. These cops are murderers. I mean, how many people know somebody killed by the police? Or even know somebody who knew somebody? Like, I count 4 people that in some way I knew to some degree. 2 of them were close friends that were murdered by police. You know, that's crazy. So I
Yeah.
mean, there's hatred there for that. Now, how many people know people that were abused by the police or treated like shit by the police or had their lives ruined by the police for some small bullshit
Yeah.
for profit? I mean, it's the whole system's fucked up, but yeah, the police are the ones that go and do the dirty work, so they're the ones people are gonna hate. I'm sure we all hate judges and, all them assholes at the courts too. People in the jails, fuck all of them.
Well, like he said in the article, their job is to take somebody from the scene of an arrest to jail. That's their fucking job.
Yeah, but there needs to be a lot less reasons you can be arrested.
Yeah, exactly. And right now, as he says, they're given too much power to decide what that is.
Because think about
because
this.
there's
go ahead.
because
Sorry.
there's too many little bullshit ways that you can apply something with all these bullshit laws. That's one of the things I like the most about what he said. A vast piece of the laws on the books are fucking bullshit. They need to go. And I certainly agree with that. Because we know all these laws certainly don't apply if you have a certain amount of cash available, or connections, or skin tone.
Yeah, it's just, a mentally ill woman. I have a video of it actually. The cop tried to grab her for no reason. She moved her arm to block his arm. He smashes her face into the concrete. And then they charge her with assault on an officer and all this other bullshit, right? So what if they had a mental health care worker and they came out there and they know not to go jump in her face and try to grab on her, start talking to her, gain her confidence, do whatever you got to do. And if it comes to having to restrain her, then you have the ambulance people come and you restrain her. I mean, she didn't deserve that. None of that. She needed help. She didn't need to get slammed into the ground and locked in a cage. It's bullshit. And then, like, what are you going to do when somebody starts to kill you or wants to shoot you? When do the cops come? They come after the fact. They don't come in, you know what I mean?
True story.
In Florida, right? Wasn't that where the school was getting shot up by that psycho kid? And you're like, which one, right? Yeah. And the cops were hiding behind their cars waiting until the gunshot stopped because they were scared. So, like, what the fuck good are they? People died because the cops were hiding, waiting, scared to go in. So, yeah, who cares?
Yep.
They're going to come.
That was Sandy Hook.
Your car gets the window busted out and somebody takes a computer or something out of it, right? You call the police, what are they going to do? They're going to file a report. Unless somebody puts that computer in a pawn shop or something, even some pawn shops ain't going to go with that. They're not going to find it.
I mean, you talk about that. This day and age, why the fuck would you phone the cops anyway? If it's a Microsoft computer, get a hold of Microsoft. They'll fucking find it before the cops ever will, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Again.
Anything. Yeah. I mean, yeah, just anything. If they take your purse or your wallet, I don't know, with money in it. But I mean,
Yeah.
The cops are going to do, what are they going to do? Are they going to find the money?
And keep it?
What are they going to investigate? Your $500 is missing. They're going to put all the detectives in the world on it. They don't give a fuck. They're going to file a report and that's it.
Yeah.
You're not getting your money back. It's that simple, man. These people. The only time cops should come with guns is if there's some crazy, crazy shit where people are going to get murdered.
Yep.
Like
the UK
kind of thing. Yeah, exactly. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. I think this was in Canada the other day, maybe a week or two ago. Somebody was having a mental health crisis. They called the police. The police came and shot him in his own balcony. They climbed up on a ladder.
Yep. Yeah, there was a wellness check on a guy who was a known schizophrenic,
Yeah, that's it.
and he didn't answer his door. So the cops got a ladder, climbed up onto his balcony, kicked open his balcony door, tased him, threw in a flashbang, and then they still ended up shooting him and killing him.
He allegedly had a knife, correct?
The guy's in his apartment. What the fuck does that mean?
I'm just saying. I understand that, but I'm saying, do you see the crazy shit? These are armed cops in riot gear and shit,
Yep.
like a SWAT team. They're flashbanging.
Yep.
They're going in. The guy's a knife. And they got to murder him. What bitch motherfuckers, man? What cowards, really? Let's be real about
Yep.
it. They're just like American
Oh, yeah.
cops. Yeah.
People are fucking pissed. And this was like some 62-year-old Muslim dude. And everybody knew he had schizophrenia. And everybody knew that, every once in a while, if he got off his meds, he'd get pretty wild. But let it happen. He ain't going to hurt nobody.
He's gonna make a lot of noise and yell. Yeah.
He ain't going to hurt nobody. He ain't going to go out. Just let it pass. But oh no. Like you said, if it would have been a mental health worker, they know exactly what the fuck's happening. And they could probably find the records on who the fuck to call to get this guy to chill the fuck out. But, well, how dare you not answer your door? We're going to climb onto your balcony and kill you. Like, what the fuck?
That happens a lot here in the U.S. People are suicidal. They'll call, like, my son is suicidal. They send the police, and the police end up murdering him. It's happened on quite a few occasions, more than one. There's time when people call the police and they come and shoot their chihuahua or shoot the dog in their backyard, and they're not even in the backyard. They insane. They just trigger happy fucks.
Yeah.
We don't need them. Like, it's ridiculous, man. People fear these motherfuckers. That was a true statement when he was talking about that in there.
Yeah,
People fear
and with good reason. And with good reason.
Since sucks on Twitter, I've been nervous about being around them fuckers. I want to get my YouTube live streaming going. I'm gonna try to figure something out, but this fucking this Twitter live stream on Periscope sucks for me. Yeah.
On Instagram, there's somebody posted a short video from Hamilton, Ontario. Hamilton used to be the Pittsburgh of Canada. That's where all the steel has been made forever. All the U.S. steel is in Hamilton. Let's put it that way. And there was like a driveway cam. And what you saw was a young black Canadian boy, looked like about 10 years old, out on the balcony, and there's a hoop. He's shooting hoops. All of a sudden you see him stop and go stand behind or on the side of his parents' SUV. And he just stands there for a few seconds. And then you see a Hamilton police SUV, black and white, go down the street.
Oh, that was in Canada.
Yep.
I seen that video. I didn't know where it was. Wow.
That was in Hamilton, Ontario. And the cop goes by, and then the kid keeps playing basketball.
Yeah, I mean, that's what a lot of people do.
It's not supposed to be that way, man.
You notice when a cop pulls up to an intersection, everybody's not trying not to look at him. Or they're doing weird shit and acting funny and slowing down and going way below the speed limit, doing just weird shit. And that gives that gives them a reason to pull them all over. I learned that the hard way over year and year. Fuck that. I drive right past them as long as I'm at the speed limit and my shit's straight. If I don't got tags or something, I turn the corner and go way the fuck away before they see me. But if your shit's straight, I go past them. I just act like fuck you. Sometimes I'll flip them off, but that's because they know I got cameras everywhere, and they most likely aren't gonna risk fucking with me. They might. I don't care. You know what I mean? It's my time to go. It's my time to go. I
Well,
hate them pigs.
pretty much all the cops on the road here, they all go 10 kilometers an hour over the limit, which is like 6 miles an hour over.
Oh, here they drive slow. They drive real slow, and then all the cars try to get behind them and drive slow with them. And yeah,
Fuck that. No, they all speed here. And I just go exactly the speed they're going. Maybe 1 or 2 kilometers an hour more. And, I'll just pull up beside them and they'll look at me. It's like, hey, you're speeding. And I'm like, yeah, I know. So are you. And then I'll just keep going. And they're like, yeah, whatever.
you're like, I can't be speeding because you wouldn't break the law, would you?
Exactly.
Oh man, these pigs are insane. I
Yeah,
think we could win this if these people just stay out in the streets. Like that's what
Yep.
it's going to take, and it's dying out a little. And then it picks up. I don't know what's going to get it momentum back. I don't
Well,
know
they're
what
sure
to do.
trying to get sports going to keep people home, aren't they?
Yeah,
That's what they're going to do. They're going to try and get all the fucking sports running again to give people something to get glued to their fucking couch with again.
good thing I don't like sports. I guess I'll be out there with the few that hate sports. I don't know. I mean, I don't hate it. I'm just indifferent. I guess I hate it. It just sucks. It's stupid. It's racist.
Well, we're kind of on the subject. That's something else that continues to blow my mind that I thought I would never, ever see. And that's what's happening in NASCAR. I never thought this would happen.
The Confederate flag thing.
Not just that. It's the whole thing. I mean, we have a white second generation driver who's young, driving for the king of the sport, Richard Petty, white guy, 7-time champion. He's King Richard. That's his driver. And that driver's leading this anti-racism purge of the entire organization. And the organization's going along with it. That's the shocking part.
They're fan shirts,
not a-
aren't though.
Well, that's just it. They could never do this if they had crowds. They could never try this because there'd be shit thrown on the track. Who knows what the fuck would happen if you get, 80,000 Cletuses together. So this is the only time they could ever do this. And they're not hitting soft. They're going hard. And first they banned the flags. Then Bubba Wallace had a car that said Black Lives Matter on it. And then after that, at the next race, at Talladega, Alabama, there was a noose found hanging in his garage area.
I heard about that. Was that
Yeah.
his private house garage or a garage at
Oh,
work?
no.
Or-
No, that was at the track in his garage space for his team.
so there are most likely cameras there, right?
Probably, yeah. But, so that happened. And then before that weekend of racing started there, all the cars were on pit road, and all the pit crews, as more, it doesn't take that many people to push one of those cars. But, all these people from all the pit crews pushed his car to the front of the line, even though he didn't qualify at the front of the line. So I never thought I'd see that kind of solidarity from that many race teams and drivers and crew chiefs over this. I just never thought it would happen.
Maybe these dudes just want to race cars and they got a really racist base somehow and they found a way to get rid of them maybe and get a new fan base.
Well, that's the thing, because NASCAR's been around for 70 years. And it's, it started out with moonshiners with fast cars. So, I mean, it's always maintained that side of it. All the most famous drivers are all from the South. And like I said, with not having crowds and with a real generational change in drivers in the last 2 years, there are more drivers now in the top level of NASCAR that are under 25 than there's probably ever been. So it is a whole new generation. And it's interesting to see that they're being, I don't know if it's all about a marketing angle of making them the entire front of the company, which they've never done before. They've never gone so heavily to a select group instead of the whole thing. So, yeah, this is a chance for them to get an entire new audience, if they can. And I'm sure they count on maybe a third of their old audience being okay with it. But, yeah, there's a lot of people that are going to leave and never come back. So I just think it's really amazing that such an old South traditional, quote-unquote, corporate entity would make such a change like this. It just blows my mind.
I was surprised with the Call of Duty, the Infinity Ward, Modern Warfare. They had I report these racists all the time on there. I encourage everyone in there to report them, like for saying terrible shit, really derogatory stuff. Sometimes they'll have, the clan tags will be really racist kind of stuff or terrible shit. And it's only racism. I don't care what else they say, or sexism or something terrible like that. Like, I don't care if they call people names in there or talk shit, because that's what the game is about. It's just the offensive,
Yep.
racist shit or sexist shit or homophobic shit or shit like that. That's when I report them. But yeah, they have like a zero tolerance policy now. They had Black Lives Matter all over the game, and that's always been an issue in those games. It's just like a whole bunch of racists in them. And in the past,
Yeah.
I think they've put imagery in to encourage that shit. They started finally taking out the swastikas and shit, which was good. You don't have to see that shit.
It was way too 4chan is what the problem was.
Yeah, but I was really happy to see that, because supposedly now they're going to take it serious when you're talking about hate speech. They don't seem to have a specific hate speech,
Definition.
When you report or a way to report hate, you just offensive language or whatever. But I don't care about language. You can say any filthy words you want, as long as it's not racist, bigoted, basically, in any way. That's what bothers me, and that's what should bother everybody. But yeah, a lot of non-traditional places, I don't think they had a choice other than to do this.
Well, then, okay, even if you take that, if you want to look at Gen Z and a lot of them who claim to be, we've been watching what makes money and what doesn't our whole lives, well, then they better pay attention to this. And if they are making a difference here, or if they're the market share that's making these other entities make this kind of switch, if they've got that much market power already, that means they will be bringing political change too. It's just how long will it take? Just like we've seen the wholesale change in stuff like drivers in NASCAR from one generation to even skipping one and going to the younger one yet. Well, how much of that is going to happen in Washington if things go on? How long does it take before the crowd now that is grinding everything to dust either dies or loses? How long before there's a change? Even if they're the same old shit, they should be under 40, not over 70.
Yeah, look at what these kids are doing, man. I mean, teenagers. They can't even vote, and they're changing. They're fucking with politics. Like I remember the Insane Clown Posse fans. They were attacking Nazis and doing cool shit like that back in the day. But then now you got the K-pop fans that shut the president shit down. You know, they all reserved tickets at his rally under all kinds of crazy, stupid names. And they got him an attendance of, what was it, 6,400 or something shit like that.
Well, I mean, that's the perfect ending to it, though. Because, I mean, okay, so you got an arena in Tulsa, and you're talking about selling over, at that point, over 300,000 tickets. Like, what? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, this is just stupidity. For them, why didn't they just say, okay, it's been sold out in 30 minutes? Then at least, maybe there would have been some credibility to it. But to say we've sold fucking 100, 200 times as many tickets as we have seats? Like, what?
The official statement from the press secretary was that people were scared to bring their kids because Black Lives Matter, and Antifa were stopping people from getting in.
And is there any proof of that whatsoever?
There's proof of a protest, but when has that ever stopped anything from going down? The police will just push them the hell away. Let's be real. We know how this works.
Especially maggots getting somewhere. Like, that's going to stop them.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It was just, they couldn't even fill up the auditorium. They had a whole secondary section outside where he was supposed to do a second speech. They shut that shit down before dark. And then you seen him moping on that video, walking back with his tie undone, holding his hat, pouting.
Yeah.
Man, I've never seen him look so presidential. That's strength right there.
CAG all the way.
Klan affiliated goons.
Yeah. Keep America gaping. Yeah, right on. What a fucking joke, man.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's
But the scary thing is, in this day and age, we know what is possible. We don't assume that he's going to get kicked the fuck out. That's what's wrong with this day and age. We can't assume that, no matter what we see right now. That's what sucks.
You know who's a piece of shit?
Who's not?
Bolton. John Bolton, the warmonger. He supposedly has all this shit in his book that's Trump, crimes that Trump was doing. Motherfucker, you were sitting right there while he was doing all this shit, and you had to wait to make money to put it out. He's guilty as shit too, man. That motherfucker, he's a warmonger. He's killed so many people. He should be in prison forever and ever and ever.
Yep.
But how does that even sound? Yeah, he was commiserating with China to help him with the election. He was doing this, he was doing that. But I wasn't going to bring it up until the book deal. I wouldn't even go in. I refused to even be, I said I would sue if they tried to subpoena me. I'd fight it. But when you give me some money, what was it, a couple $1 million advancement for a book deal, I'll spill my guts to save the country. Get the fuck out of here, dude.
Yeah, that's a little different.
I just don't get it. But I love America.
Tremendously.
Like, doesn't that make him an accessory? Like, he's sitting back watching the crime go down. He's in a position where he could stop it and bring it to everyone's attention, but he's waiting on a book deal.
Yeah, well, this is 20 years after fucking W. So, it's kind of late to sound the alarm, man.
Well, I'm not saying that the crimes didn't happen or that he's lying about it. I'm saying he's a piece of shit for not just bringing it up right then. He should be responsible for those crimes. They should be investigating him. You know what I mean?
That's just not the way it works.
They're investigating Trump and them for.
But that's just not the way it works, man. We know this.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me neither. But, like I said, when you look at Cheney and Rumsfeld and all those motherfuckers and Rice, and they're not in jail, fuck, this is nothing.
Yeah.
That's just that's the way that shit works, and that's what's wrong in your country. Shit like that.
In a lot of countries, but yeah, especially this one.
Well, yeah, because that one's got the most power.
Yeah. I hate it, man. I hate it. It's always terrible shit. We're always protesting terrible shit. And then the shit stays terrible, and they throw us a bone sometimes. I'm scared what bones they're going to throw us now. And if these people are going to bite.
Well, like I said, it's the momentum this time that really makes me take notice.
Trump even said this dying out. We just have to wait them out, and they'll go away eventually. And that's the truth. Only we can make that not true. Everyone has to be out there as much as possible all the time.
Well, there's one other big factor at the same time, and that's COVID.
They're having indoor rallies with no masks. We're outdoors, masks, hand sanitizer, and in some cases social distancing, 6 feet.
See,
like
now
I said
this
before,
is...
I got videos where everyone's kneeling about 6 feet from each other, all like you could just walk through the crowd if you wanted to.
And this is where intelligence may preserve life in a big way.
There's people everywhere up and down the street handing out water, giving out masks if you need them, hand sanitizer, squirting it on, and some people even had bottles they were giving people.
Hasn't California got a mask ordinance now?
I believe it does if you're indoors or in a public, crowded place.
Oh, okay.
But
not on the street, though.
Have masks on.
Not on the street, though.
I don't think so. I mean, if so, they're not really enforcing it.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of people walking around without masks on.
All right. Just curious. Of course, the biggest outbreaks in Canada are still long-term care, seniors care. There are some appalling statistics in some privately owned chains out east. And, of course, there's a massive cry to buy back all the long-term care, make it public again. I doubt that'll happen, but, I could see a definite reorganization of the marketplace, let's put it that way. There will probably be some big health provider care home owners will sell their portfolio to one of their competitors. And then in a couple years, this outfit will show up with a new name and buy them all back. So that's what I expect to happen. But
Yeah.
there should be some fucking rules. That's the problem. It's not just privatization. It's privatization with no fucking rules. That's what kills everything. And that's what they love to do up here. Privatization means laissez-faire. Have at her. Send us a bill.
The few regulations these corporations had, Trump came in and started wiping them out because some of them were put in by Obama's people. So he has to wipe that out. Can't let the black guy have even one good thing for the people.
No, it's got to go.
Yeah, I don't know.
See, that's the type of thing that usually happens in Canada when it goes back and forth between our two ruling parties. We just spend half our first 4-year term trying to wipe out everything those guys just did. And then the second 4 years of the second 2 years of that term, we just kiss everybody's ass and pay them with their own money. Then we get back in. Then we really start to fuck shit up. That's how it works here.
Yeah. Here, I think it works like one party gets in, does a whole bunch of damage. The next party gets in. And, well, when they do the damage, everyone's like, oh, no, 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 you're terrible people. Then the next party gets in. Everyone's like, we're saved, we're saved. They keep the damage going, but with a smile. And then the next party gets in and continues the damage. And it's like a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
It's all leading to the same. I mean, like I said, we got 2 Republican president choices. Like you said on an earlier show, you got Coke or Pepsi. They're both cola, right?
Yep.
Stupid. It's really stupid.
Well, it goes back again to fucking South Park. Douche and turd sandwich.
Yeah. Right now we got white supremacist rapist warmonger or white supremacist rapist warmonger. Just choose which style you like.
Yep. Yeah. The one with class or the one who's a fucking gutter pig?
Yeah. Which
Image.
makes no difference. Sometimes the gutter pig is safer because you know how evil it is. The one with class can fool you sometimes and you'll support things.
But you'll feel better.
Yeah, that's my point. It's not good. Neither way is good.
Dunning-Kruger 2020.
Oh. Yeah. The politics in this country sucks. It sucks in your country too, I'm sure.
Yeah, but again, like I said, we're just glad we don't have as many people as you, because then we'd have as many problems as you. That's it. That's the fucking bottom line, man. Fuck.
That is the bottom line. Fuck. So yeah, anything else going on? I'm trying to rack my brain about things we haven't touched on yet.
I don't know. I ain't fucking got much. I mean, we pretty much just had a little fucking overview there. Politics sucks. Celebrity sucks.
It all sucks.
COVID sucks. I don't know. I think that's about it.
The theme for today's show is everything sucks. So yeah.
Brought to you by Gorilla Glue 4 and Orange Cookies.
Yeah. So yeah, I just I encourage people to stay out in the streets. Let people protest the way they want. Don't be so judgmental. Judge the atrocities going on, not the little stupid, insignificant bullshit. If people are dying, if whole countries are getting bombed, that's way worse than looting. So talk about that shit first. Let people get some free shit once in a while. And I guess stop snitching on each other, stop filming people's faces, delete videos. Not everything's important to release for clout or whatever the fuck reason it is. And that's it. Anything else, Glenn?
Well, I have a real big problem with people that just use their phone on the street and record whatever they feel like and they upload it all to a cloud. I think that's just fucking insane. It's irresponsible. And you may one day find yourself in a much bigger shit pile than you ever imagined. So that's all I'll advise on that score. But as far as people being, shall we say, a little more responsible to their fellow protesters with their recording devices, it can hurt. Because remember, it wasn't that long ago on this show, and we talked about how after a killing, the LAPD went and canvassed every business that might have had surveillance video of what happened. So think about it that way. And think about why the cops are going to get it. To cover their ass. But if you have shit on the cloud and the cops find it, they can get a subpoena for it pretty easy. And you ain't going to have nothing to say about it. So just keep that in mind. That's all.
Yeah, also, in Gardena, where they killed that young 18-year-old security guard, Andres Guadardo, they came in and took the HDR out of the store or the auto parts place that he worked at.
Yep.
And they smashed the cameras. I don't know why they smashed the cameras. probably looking to see if they had any kind of
Storage.
storage in them. But I know at the dispensary over there, they removed their cameras, I think.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I heard. Like, the cameras aren't there anymore. And somebody said the police removed them. Right after they murdered the dude, they moved their cameras out of a closed-up dispensary.
Ah, I see.
And like you seen in that video, they were going up and down looking at everybody's cameras, trying to see what could have got them. It's a cover-up immediately. As soon as the pigs kill somebody, the cover-up begins. That whole goal is to get the cop off. Imagine if any gangbanger had that much power.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah. No MS-13 cat ever did no shit like that. But they're the problem. Cool. So, yeah, thank everybody for listening. Thank you, Glenn, as always. Nolan, we miss you. We hope you get better and abolish the police. We're out.